The 2024 CFL season is in the books, and after crunching the numbers, watching the film, and updating my spreadsheets, I'm proud to present the Between the Goalposts 2024 CFL Special Teams Awards. In this video, I'll highlight the best kickers, punters, long snappers, returners, coverage units, you name it, breaking down exactly why they deserve the spotlight. Now, I've tracked unique stats all season long to better understand what makes special teams special. I've kept things as objective as possible, but I'm just a guy who loves special teams, and if you disagree, let me know down in the comments. If you enjoy deep dives like this, hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss future breakdowns. Alright, let's kick this off with one of the most well-known positions, the kickers. Kickers are often the heroes or the villains of a football game, so let's start there. In 2024, there were 514 field goals attempted, and CFL kickers converted 451 of them. That's a league-wide average of about 88%, up from 86% last year and 85% in 2022. Now, we also saw 5 kickers make over 90% of their kicks, which is the highest number since I started tracking special teams back in 2021. It was a great year for kickers, with guys like Shaun White setting the second longest consecutive field goal streak in pro football history, and Sergio Castillo breaking records for the most 50-plus and 60-yard field goals in a single season. This was hands down one of the toughest awards to decide, but the 2024 Between the Goalposts Kicker of the Year award goes to Rene Paredes. Paredes was nothing short of elite this season. He made 41 of his 44 field goal attempts, good for 93%, the second best mark in the league, and this wasn't just a fluke, it's his 7th season with over 90% accuracy. On converts, he went 33 for 36, but where Paredes really stood out was on long distance kicks. He nailed 23 of 25 field goals over 40 yards, including a career best 57-yarder in week 13.
So a 57-yard attempt for Paredes. Big deep breath. Cody Grace to hold. Paredes, for the first time in his career, looking to hit one from 57. That is up, and it is good. Nails it. A deep shot on Labor Day from Paredes, and Calgary's on the board.
Before that, his longest kick was just 53 yards, so it's safe to say that he did something special this year. Some of his standout moments in 2024 were in Week 4 when he kicked a 52-yard game-winning field goal against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and in Week 9 when he made a clutch 41-yard field goal to take the lead in the fourth quarter against the Toronto Argonauts, followed by a 49-yarder with 30 seconds left to seal the win.
Where he's made 14 of his last 17 attempts. Steps through, turns around, knew he nailed it from the second it left his foot.
Paredes kept the stamps in games that they had no business winning, and once again proved why he's one of the best kickers in the modern CFL era. Congratulations, Rene Paredes, on your second Between the Goalposts award.
His back, Paredes steps into it from 50 yards away. More than long enough and accurate as well. The streak continues.
Now, let's talk about punters. For the first time in 3 years of giving out these awards, we've got a new name at the top. Punters in 2024 recorded 956 punts, averaging 48 yards per punt, the highest mark in CFL history. Leading the charge was one man. The 2024 Between the Goalposts Punter of the Year award goes to Jake Julien. Julien's 2024 season was legendary. After ranking him 8th out of 9 punters in 2023, his breakout this year shattered expectations. Julien punted 107 times, second most in the league, and put up CFL record-breaking numbers. He averaged 54 yards per punt, breaking a record that had stood for nearly 2 decades. 68% of his punts traveled over 50 yards, far ahead of the next best punter at just 53%. To put this in perspective, the NFL's top punter in 2023 in terms of yardage was Ryan Stonehouse, who averaged 53 yards per punt on 54 attempts. Not only did Julien beat that mark, he did it on twice as many punts.
This is way up there. That hangs up there a ton. Finally comes down at the 15 in Lucky Whitehead.
And Julien wasn't just about booming kicks either. He led the CFL in punts inside the 20-yard line and was second in percentage of punts landing inside the 20.
Of just over 50 for the season. This will hang up there. Another monster kick. That'll bounce at the 5. Out of bounds at the 3. Oh, mark him at the 2.
Big leg punter, check. Directional punting, double check. Some of his 2024 highlights include in Week 9 when he punted 6 times for an average of 52 yards, with 83% of those punts landing inside the 20-yard line.
The great returners around the Canadian Football League. Julien, clean punt from his 41. And that's going to bounce. And out of bounds. The corner? At the 1. They're going to have a discussion now. Looked like he caught the corner there, didn't it?
Well, Edmonton would much rather have that go out at the 1.
In Week 16, when he averaged an insane 61.8 yards per punt on 4 attempts, the 5th highest single-game average in CFL history.
There, Lucky Whitehead has to backpedal and take it at the 5. That was a 63-yard kick. Lucky near sideline, and he'll step out of bounds.
And during the final game of the season, with the clock ticking down, Julien booted a punt through the end zone to win the game for the Elks with a walk-off rouge.
Looking for the rouge and the win! Got it! A walk-off rouge to end the season and win it for Edmonton. That just happened.
This was the most dominant season that I've ever seen from a CFL punter. Jake Julien is an NFL-level talent, and if you want to hear more about why, check out my video, Why Jake Julien Deserves His NFL Shot. Congratulations, Jake Julien, on your first ever Between the Goalposts award. This is the second year that long snappers have been included in these awards, and it's worth taking a second to explain how I evaluate them. If you're unfamiliar, think of a snap like a baseball pitch. The goal is to hit the strike zone with accuracy while avoiding balls, which signify off-target snaps. Each week, I scour the CFL official highlight packages and break down each snap thrown by long snappers. Using this method, every week I'm able to grade every single field goal snap, a punt snap or 2, and if we're really lucky, a convert snap. While admittedly this is an extremely small sample size, I believe that by the end of the season, it provides enough data to accurately assess the abilities of each long snapper in the CFL, and by tracking things like the number of tackles and blocked kicks and punts, we're able to see how they perform on coverage duty and as a blocker on the line, allowing us to accurately evaluate this often overlooked position in football. With all of that being said, by season's end, I tracked 675 long snaps and graded the accuracy. The results? On field goal snaps, long snappers hit the strike zone 91% of the time. And on punt snaps, which are trickier due to the increased length of the snap and the pressure to get your head up and rush downfield, accuracy dropped down to about 77%. Overall, they finished with a total strike percentage of 87%. One long snapper rose above the rest, and the 2024 Between the Goalposts Long Snapper of the Year award goes to Adam Gamet. Gamet was lights out this season, and out of 53 graded field goal snaps, 52 of them were recorded as strikes, the best mark in the CFL, and on punt snaps, he went 8 for 9. Overall, he finished the season with a total strike percentage of 97%, 6% higher than the next best long snapper, and 10% better than the league average. Some of his standout moments include Week 3 when he snapped a perfect ball on a game-winning field goal.
And down and kicked. With no time left, another walk-off winner by a field goal kicker.
In Week 8, when he recorded strikes on all 4 of his field goal snaps, including another game-winning field goal. And in Week 17, when he helped Liram Haralahu set a Argonauts record with 8 field goals in one game. Every snap was a strike. And while I don't consider postseason performances for these awards, it is worth noting that Adam Gamet delivered 10 perfect snaps during the Argos playoff run, including 4 in the Grey Cup, helping the Argos secure the championship. Congratulations, Adam Gamet, on your first Between the Goalposts award.
4 for 4. 3 big points.
Now into the world of the kickoff specialist, one of the most underrated positions in football. In 2024, these guys logged 629 kickoffs, averaging 66.4 yards per kick, a CFL record. Now for me, a good kickoff means traveling over 70 yards, and 35% of their attempts hit that mark this year. If you're booting it from your own 30-yard line and the returner is fielding it at his own 10-yard line, that's a pretty big deal in terms of field position. On top of all of that, 27% of those kickoffs were kept inside the 30-yard line, keeping the return game in check. Now, if you followed kickoff statistics in the past 5 years, this next part won't surprise you. The 2024 Between the Goalposts Kickoff Specialist of the Year is none other than Boris Bede. In his first season with the Elks, Bede was a machine. He kicked off 69 times, averaging an insane 71 yards per kick. Let that sink in, 60% of his kickoffs went for over 70 yards, leading the CFL by a cool 20%. He also had 35% of his kickoffs remain inside the 30, ranking 3rd in the league, with only Sergio Castillo and Rene Paredes topping him.
Inside the 5, back to the 20.
On top of all of that, Bede also led the league in kickoff rouges with 7. No one else even came close. The only other guy with more than 1 kickoff rouge was Jose Maltos, and he only had 2.
Tonight, Bede hammer this down the field, and that'll trickle. It's live. End zone. It's live.
Some of Boris Bede's highlights this year were just nuts. In week 3, he had 6 kickoffs go for a total of 432 yards, averaging 72 yards per kick. A ridiculous 82% of his kickoffs went over 70 yards, and 4 of them remained inside the 30-yard line. In week 12, he had 3 kickoffs and averaged 74 yards per kick, with all 3 traveling over 70 yards and 2 of them remaining inside the 30. In week 19, Bede averaged a season-high 80 yards per kickoff on 5 attempts. He was putting the ball on the opponent's goal line all game long. Plus, he racked up 2 rouges that week alone.
Bede smashes a low kick away. That's going to go through the end zone, right down to the back of it.
Boris Bede is, hands down, the most dominant kickoff specialist the CFL has ever seen, and don't be surprised if you see an off-season video dedicated to the Kickoff King. Congratulations, Boris Bede, on your second Between the Goalposts award. Now let's talk about the returners, the guys who can turn a routine special teams play into pure magic.
Logan has the back pedal and take it at the 5. Stays on his feet, finds a little bit of space here. Hey, Logan! Oh boy, he's going to get to midfield. There's a block. Logan, one man can catch him in crew cup. Logan down to the 20, to the 10. Gone! Not a flag in sight. Logan with the house call.
We'll break it down into 3 categories: kickoff returns, punt returns, and a new one for this year, missed field goal returns.
Harris takes it out, gets a block on Tanner Green, and he tries to turn the corner and head off, and he's still in. And a return and a flag coming down right at the...
Starting off with kickoff returners. In 2024, we saw 627 kickoffs returned, with returners racking up a total of 13,386 yards, averaging about 21.3 yards per return. I consider any return over 30 yards to be a big play, and this year, 92 returns hit that benchmark, roughly 15% of all kickoff returns. And let's not forget, we also saw 3 kickoff return touchdowns this season.
The race is on to the 30, and this guy is out of here. Bye-bye, Super Mario. A house call to get us started.
With all of that said, the 2024 Between the Goalposts Kickoff Returner of the Year award goes to Devontae Dedmon. Dedmon was electric this year. Across his 29 returns, he was just 1 yard shy of 800 total yards, averaging a league best 27.6 yards per return. He was crazy efficient too. 9 of his returns went for more than 30 yards, which works out to 31% of his total returns, and he led the CFL.
As crossing the 35, bounces off a tackler, and Dedmon breathing some life into the Ottawa offense, trying to help.
Some of Dedmon's 2024 highlights include in week 2 when he returned 4 kickoffs for 171 yards, averaging 42.8 yards per return. This included a 101-yard kickoff return touchdown and another 40-yard return.
Down the sideline, can he make it all the way? Yes, he stands on his feet. The first return touchdown of 2024 belongs to Devontae Dedmon.
In week 11, he returned 4 kickoffs for 115 yards, averaging 28.8 yards return with a long of 50 yards.
35-40. Big return, Dedmon.
And in week 13, Dedmon went off again with 4 returns totaling 113 yards, averaging 28.3 yards per return, including a long of 54 yards. And it would have been even better if his 63-yard return wasn't called back because of a penalty. While Dedmon didn't crack the 1,000-yard mark due to missing time with an injury, there's no doubt in my mind that he would have hit it. He's the guy kickoff specialists fear the most, and this season proved why. Congratulations, Devontae Dedmon, on your first Between the Goalposts award.
And he stays on his feet. He's got something cooking here. Takes a look behind him and eventually is wrapped up just beyond midfield by Rene.
Moving on to punt returners. These guys had another stellar year. In 2024, there were 751 punts returned for a total of 8,562 yards, averaging about 11.4 yards per return. Here's what stands out. 157 returns went for over 15 yards, which makes up 21% of all punt returns. And we also saw 8 punt return touchdowns this year.
Montreal, but they'll have to send it back to Lucky Whitehead. And the Bombers, good return here from Whitehead. Burst through the middle, touch across the 40. Sean Thomas Earlington giving chase and just grabs the ankles.
With all that in mind, the 2024 Between the Goalposts Punt Returner of the Year is Rene Grant.
The third, Rene Grant. Down the sideline. Numbers in front. Tyson Blackburn has to get a block. He does. Start your engine. Touchdown Argos. Rene Grant with another masterpiece in double blue.
Now, Grant's story is a fun one. After an incredible 2023 season with Winnipeg, the team may have thought that he was too old or injury prone, and he hit free agency. The Argonauts, who just lost 2023 Punt Returner of the Year Javon Leake, took a chance on Grant, and man did it pay off.
Here goes. There comes Rene Grant. Couldn't keep him on hold the whole time. A flag comes out.
Grant returned 67 punts this year, the second most in the CFL, and averaged an impressive 14.8 yards per return. He turned 18 of those punts into returns of 15 yards or more, accounting for 27% of his total returns, which is well above the league average, especially given the volume. Most impressively, Grant was the only punt returner in 2024 to record more than one punt return touchdown. He racked up 3 in his first year with the Argos. Some of Grant's 2024 highlights include in Week 5, where Grant returned 6 punts, averaging 22 yards per return, and an 84-yard punt return touchdown. In Week 6, where he had 5 punt returns for a total of 97 yards, with 3 of those returns over 15 and a long of 43 yards.
44 yards. Who had to slow him down just enough.
And in Week 7, when Grant returned 8 punts, averaging 15 yards per return, including his season-long, a 96-yard punt return touchdown.
Grant back 7 yards to his own 15. Shakes one man, makes another miss. He's off to the races. Nobody will catch him. 20, 10, 5. Touchdown Argos, right back into the ballgame.
Rene Grant came back to the CFL with something to prove, and he delivered. He's still one of the most dangerous returners out there, and his 2024 season shut up a lot of doubters. Congratulations, Rene Grant, on your first Between the Goalposts award.
Here goes Grant down to the 50. The race is on. Look at him go. Tries to cut it inside. Stays on his feet, and finally they'll take him down.
And now we've got a new category for this year, missed field goal returners. These guys don't get enough credit, but they play a huge role in keeping points off the board. In 2024, there were 40 missed field goals that were returned, with returners averaging around 30 yards per return.
Something cooking here. He'll get to midfield. Breaks another tackle. Can he get a block? Eventually they force him out. What a return off the missed field goal.
One of their main jobs is to exit the end zone to avoid giving up a rouge, and they were successful 85% of the time, with only 6 rouges being allowed all season.
Over the other way. Katsantonis and just killing the clock. Zeros on it.
The 2024 Between the Goalposts Missed Field Goal Returner of the Year is James Letcher Jr. Letcher Jr. returned 6 missed field goals this year, the most of any returner, and totaled 251 yards, averaging an impressive 41.8 yards per return. Some of Letcher Jr.'s 2024 highlights include Week 11, where he returned 3 missed field goals, averaging 58 yards per return, including the longest missed field goal return of the year, a 128-yard touchdown.
Letcher takes it back to the 20, turns it upfield, and now he's got to the 40. Can they track him down? I'm not sure. Midfield and the race is on. Letcher to the 30, to the 20. See you later.
This This was also the only missed field goal return touchdown of 2024. In Week 12, when he returned a missed field goal 42 yards from 17 yards deep in his own end zone, bringing the ball out to the 24-yard line. James Letcher Jr. has emerged as one of the most exciting up-and-coming returners in the CFL, and if you want to hear more about his incredible 2024 season, I've got a video for you, A Tale of Two Returners. Congratulations, James Letcher Jr. on your first Between the Goalposts award. This wraps up our breakdown of the returners, from kickoffs to punts to missed field goals. Let's keep the Special Teams Awards rolling and talk about the unsung heroes of special teams, the guys on coverage units, tasked with shutting down returners and even blocking kicks and punts. This year, I decided to track individual coverage stats myself, and let me tell you, it was no easy task. In 2024, there were 1,275 special teams tackles across the league. Now, just a quick note, the numbers I'm presenting here were tracked live throughout the season. The CFL stats crew sometimes goes back and retroactively awards tackles, so there might be a few discrepancies compared to the league's official stats. Honestly, I don't have the time or the patience to comb through every single game log to adjust those numbers post Week 21, so what you're seeing is accurate as it gets during the regular season.
Into this ball game. Alford at the 25. Great tackle.
With that out of the way, the 2024 Between the Goalposts Individual Effort of the Year award goes to Roland Milligan Jr. It's pretty hard to argue against Milligan being the guy for this award. The man was everywhere all season long, showing up just not on special teams, but on defense as well. What really set him apart was his consistency and discipline, not a single penalty all year long, and that's rare for a guy flying around on coverage units like he was.
25. He's in trouble. Taken down almost immediately after a 43-yard kick. Roland Milligan. What doesn't he do?
One of his biggest 2024 highlights was during weeks 4 and 5, where he racked up 7 special teams tackles across 2 games. While he didn't finish with the most tackles overall, his ability to show up week after week on the stat sheet was a testament to just how reliable he was throughout the season.
Sack to punt for Lawrence Woods. Takes it at the 16. Special teams tackle coming in, Roland Milligan.
Congratulations, Roland Milligan Jr. on your first ever Between the Goalposts award.
Lawrence Woods back inside the 10. Beautiful punt by Corsack. Roland Milligan.
Now let's zoom out and look at coverage units as a whole, because let's face it, it's not an individual effort. These guys had their hands full all year trying to contain some of the most electric returners in professional football. In 2024, coverage units allowed an average of 11.4 yards on 751 punt returns, and on 639 kickoff returns, they gave up 21.4 yards per return.
And their attendance here at the Tiger Cats game tonight. And Tim White on the return after, oh my goodness, a good hit coming in there. It's Edavamaga Clements.
Something worth noting, there were a lot more penalties this year compared to 2023. 329 penalties were handed out on special teams plays, which is about 20 more than last season.
Edmonton number 50, 10-yard penalty, the result will be a first down.
Coverage units also came up big in other ways, forcing 22 turnovers and blocking 14 kicks and punts. But when it comes to the best coverage unit in the league, one team stood out far above the rest. The 2024 Between the Goalposts Coverage Unit of the Year award goes to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. This unit was downright dominant. They allowed a league-best 9.6 yards on 78 punt returns and 19.7 yards on 65 kickoff returns. That gives them the lowest total average yards allowed per return at 14.2 yards, a full yard and a half better than any other team. But their discipline was just as impressive. Winnipeg only racked up 22 penalties for a total of 228 yards all season long. And if that wasn't enough, they forced a league-leading 5 turnovers and also blocked 2 punts.
Jamison Sheen lays this one out there. Bird away. Takes it just inside the 35. And that ball is popped out. Scooped up by the Bombers, and now a chance to go. It's Ayers to the end zone. Got it. Touchdown, Winnipeg.
Some of their 2024 highlights include in Week 6, where they recorded the first block punt of the season, recovered it, and forced a turnover.
Line a little bit, but there's Cody trying to get it off. Cody Grace has it partially blocked right there.
In Week 12, where they pounced on a muffed punt return in the end zone for a touchdown.
Mario Alford, and around the 10, off the hop, and gets by him, off his hands, too! And a bomber recovery to Winnipeg touchdown! Nick Hallett!
And in Week 19, where they forced a fumble on Mario Alford and recovered it for yet another turnover.
For the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, so once again they'll have to send it down to Janarian Grant, looking to get to the wide side. It's a race, and he won't win it. The coverage unit is there. Brian Cole is on the football.
The Bombers fielded the most complete coverage unit in the CFL this year, and honestly, it wasn't even close. Congratulations to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers on your first ever Between the Goalposts award.
And Lindsay wrapped up immediately. Great coverage that time.
Now, this next award might seem a bit out there at first, but hear me out. Holders play an absolute critical role on field goal units. They're the unsung heroes who take bad snaps, save broken plays, and make sure their kickers can get the job done. This year I tracked 45 off-target field goal snaps across the league, and do you know how many of those were properly placed for the kicker to still make the kick? 44. These guys were putting on an absolute clinic. So, with that being said, the 2024 Between the Goalposts Holder of the Year award goes to Joseph Zima. Zima faced more challenges than any other holder this season, dealing with 8 high snaps, and every single time he reached up, brought the ball back down like it was nothing, and placed it perfectly so his kicker could put points on the board. Some of his 2024 highlights include in Week 3, where Zima wrangled in 2 high snaps with both kicks made. In Weeks 11 and 12, where he handled a high snap in each game with no problem. And then in Week 19, when his long snapper was having a rough day, Zima managed to clean up 3 high snaps in that game alone, all of which resulted in made kicks. I've been talking all year about just how elite Joseph Zima has been as a holder. It's a skill that rarely gets recognized, but trust me, this guy deserves it. Congratulations, Joseph Zima, on your first ever Between the Goalposts award.
That's another high snap. Joseph Zima does well.
Next up, we're giving some love to the Onside Kickoff Specialists. These kicks are a completely different beast. You've got to be precise, placing the ball exactly where your hands team can get it, all while ensuring it travels 10 yards downfield.
Onside as the short kick comes. It is touched before it made it to 10 yards.
The 2024 Between the Goalposts Onside Kickoff Specialist of the Year award goes to Brett Lothar. Lothar attempted 2 onside kickoffs this season, and the Rough Riders recovered both of them. The first recovery came in Week 6 against the BC Lions.
10 yards here. It's an illegal play. They throw the flag because they're not sure if he touches it right in there. But again, the review and video can help them verify the fact that he didn't. Surprises the BC.
And the second was in Week 13 against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
So Lothar, the onside kick, up high. Willie Jefferson was the one going for it. And it bounced around, and the Riders had a chance to recover this.
This performance just adds to Lothar's growing reputation. Since I started tracking onside kicks in 2023, Lothar has attempted 7 onside kickoffs, and the Rough Riders have recovered 4 of them. That's an insane 57% success rate. By far, Lothar is the most skilled onside kickoff specialist in the CFL right now. Congratulations, Brett Lothar, on your first ever Between the Goalposts award. And that wraps up our 2024 Between the Goalposts award ceremony. As the curtain falls on the 2024 CFL season, we're here to celebrate the unsung heroes of the game, the remarkable athletes who redefine excellence every single week on special teams. From elite kickers to the holders who make the kicks happen, all the way to the missed field goal returners, these award winners have left their mark on the league. A huge congratulations to all of this year's winners and the runner-ups. Your performances not only thrilled fans across the league, but also elevated the often overlooked third phase of football, special teams. Before we sign off, I just want to take a moment to say thank you to everyone who tuned in to Between the Goalposts this year. Your support means the world to me, especially as I made the leap from writing to video creation. I truly value each and every one of you who took the time to watch, comment, and share your thoughts with me. Looking ahead to 2025, I'm excited to share that I've got a new series of videos in the works delving deeper into the intricacies of CFL Special Teams units. There's so much more to explore, and I can't wait to bring that to you in the new year. I'd love to hear your thoughts on these awards in the comments below, and if you're into this type of content, don't forget to hit like and subscribe for more special teams breakdowns and analysis. If you really want to help the channel grow, leave a comment and check out another one of my videos. It makes a huge difference and I'm certain you're going to love it. As always, thank you for watching and have a great day.
Last time out. Uh-oh, that hits the scoreboard. Will Ben Major give us that call he had a few weeks back?
What has he got? What has he got here?
Here we go.
The kick hit the scoreboard again. It's third down.